Welcome to Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. I'm Joe Reed. Alex Richey is with me for the whole week. Alex, take it away.
Hello! So, we're going to talk about Januaries, which is a short story collection by Olivie Blake. And this is read by a cast of narrators. So, we've got Alexandra Palting, Daniel Henning, David Monteith, Ferdelle Capistrano, Olivie Blake, who is also the author, Stephanie Németh-Parker, and Steve West.
So what's so interesting is Olivie Blake typically writes these tomes, mammoth books. I'm thinking of the Atlas Six, the Atlas Paradox, the Atlas Complex. And I don't think of her as a short story writer, which could be completely my ignorance.
Right. I have a lot of friends who love her other novels, but I haven't had time to read them. So I was really excited for this short story collection because I've been wanting to read her for a long time.
So tell me about, is there a general thread through these short stories?
So this short story collection contains 14 stories that feel kind of like fairy tales.
Oh, that's
There's romance, there's heroes and villains, but there's also a lot of sarcasm and laughter.
That sounds wonderful. We can't get into them all, but you have a couple of favorites?
I do. So, one of my favorites is called The Animation Games. This one was narrated by David Monteith. So, we have a couple that are engaged to marry as children, but before they can follow through, the woman accidentally dies. She blames her fiance, so she comes back to haunt and eventually to kill him. They both reincarnate and continue this cycle of killing each other, but along the way, they find themselves falling in love and really enjoying the game. I thought that Monteith had perfect comedic timing, so I was laughing out loud a lot during this story.
So, a very, very unusual fairy tales.
Right?
And what else?
So the next favorite that I had is called Chaos Theory. This one was really long and near the end of the collection. It's narrated by Alex Palting, and Chaos Theory really fits what's happening. So we have a woman who kills a man that she was destined to love, but she now needs to stop the multiverse from falling into chaos by convincing her multiverse variants to do the same. So we've got this one narrator who has to voice a lot of variations of herself, who is still sort of the same character. And Palting just has this incredible range, and she easily distinguishes the characters. My favorite has got to be that delightfully sinister cat variant.
This sounds like a kaleidoscope of fairy tales, in fact.
Absolutely.
Who do you have an excerpt of?
I've got an excerpt from my next favorite. So, this is a story about a woman who grants wishes at a bridge that appears only during the full moon. So, we have a man coming to the wish bridge who has accidentally killed another man during a fight over the same woman that they both loved.
Okay, and this is Stephanie Németh-Parker, and it is Januaries, Stories of Love, Magic, and Betrayal by Olivie Blake. Okay, let's listen.
Is that your wish? I ask him. That you want the people of your village not to know it was you? Yes, he says. I cast off the truth he might have received, like whether Katya actually loves him, which seems like an important truth to know, but he didn't ask for my opinion, and grant the wish. Nothing will tie him to the crime. What else? I prompt expectantly. I need the sin forgiven, he says to me. This, too, is easy enough. Done, I say. He hesitates before the final part. Ivan, he begins, and then his grimace deepens. He's my brother. Oi! I reproach him firmly. You didn't tell me that. I wish now that I hadn't forgiven him. Service to an eldritch bridge can be so restricting.
Oh, that is some great narration.
Yes, absolutely.
And it really wants me to listen. I really want to listen more.
I don't blame you.
Now, how did you listen? Because short stories, you don't necessarily sit down with a book and go through all the short stories. Did you do that?
So I'm listening from start to finish, just like any other audiobook, but I will say some of them left me feeling so much that I did just have to pause and just let that linger for a moment before I was able to move on to the next one.
Yeah, I could see that. That is January's Stories of Love, Magic, and Betrayal by Olivie Blake. It's read by Alexandra Palting, Daniel Henning, David Monteith, Ferdelle Capistrano, Olivie Blake, and Stephanie Németh-Parker, and Steve West. Okay, thank you so much, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
See you then.
Support for today's episode of Behind the Mic comes from Thomas Nelson, publisher of the new women's fiction novel, The Filling Station, written by Vanessa Miller. Available everywhere you get your audiobooks. I'm Jo Reed, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.